what's up, bookworms? Welcome to episode 131 of the Cantina Book Club podcast, where readers can find interviews with authors of all genres. I'm Megan, self-proclaimed content queen, here to bring you insights from the authors themselves. Each week features a Cantina conversation with an author. Sometimes there's returning guests, and sometimes it's someone new. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button so that you never miss a beat, and feel free to browse through existing episodes so that you could catch a previous interview about a book that you've finished already. Today's episode features a chat with Sonali Dave. We're talking about her book, How Simi Got Her Groom Back. That book is available now. So I really did enjoy this conversation with Sonali, and I did enjoy the book. Women's fiction, plus I always appreciate reading from authors from different communities, and this book was, it was fun, and I was excited to see where she was going to go with it. But the conversation more, I appreciated Sonali's just honesty and her insight into unlikable characters, and one in particular. Now, some spoilers do pop up in these conversations, but the episode is more enjoyable if you've read the book anyway. So if you're wondering who that character I mentioned before, unlikable as she may be, then hit pause this episode to your playlist and go pick up a copy of How Simi Got Her Groom Back. The interview will be here when you're ready. Just a heads up that I often use adult language to express my feelings towards the authors and their work, whether the characters need to get their shit together or I am saying what the fuck to the author for making me feel things. Just please be mindful of listening ears. Books coming out this week. We've got Little Miss Petty by Sally Kilpatrick. That's coming out on March 24th, and I did finish that book, which I loved. It was a pleasant surprise. And yes, the story lives up to the title, and I'm really excited to also feature her interview next week. Without further ado, get ready, grab your favorite drink. Here is Sonali. So today we've got Sonali Dave. We're talking about How Simi Got Her Groom Back. That is available on March 3rd. Sonali, thank you so much for joining me today. Like I briefly mentioned, this is like a feel-good family drama story. I did get so irritated with the sisters and their sisterly drama, but that was like just part of the growth and part of the story. And it was a pleasant surprise, and I'm excited to dig a little bit deeper today.
Let's go. It's
Yeah.
wonderful to be here. Thank you. Yeah.
Perfect. So, can you provide a summary of the book so that people can kind of follow along with the conversation?
Yeah, so it is the story of two sisters who grew up in Mumbai, in India. And it wasn't the best childhood. They have a pretty history of pretty deep trauma. And the older sister ends up growing up too early to almost be a parent to the younger one. So she's essentially raised her. And the story finds us in the present day. They've both moved to the United States. One of them is working as a nurse, is on her way to having pulled herself out of the darkness of their childhood, is doing well, has a bright future, a man she's in love with. She's learning to stand on her own feet. Everything is going well. And then her older sister, who practically raised her and has a history of always being quote unquote in trouble, shows up at her door again in trouble. And she's at risk of being, she's on the run, she's sick, she's at risk of being deported, and she absolutely cannot go back to India. There's some pretty bad stuff waiting back there for her. And so then they're in a position where the younger sister gets to take care of the older one. And the only way they can think of, the only out that they can think of, is having the older sister who's in trouble getting married to the younger sister's boyfriend for a green card. And then after that, shenanigans ensue. So it's, I think, heartbreaking, but also two women finding their way in a world that has resilience and have the kind of generosity. The amount of generosity she has in raising a sister is admirable, and I think is above the realm of what most of us get to do. Having said that, she has great big thorns. She's one cactus, and she's a huge big beautiful cactus in my mind. And she is, but I, at no point do I, in fact, I feel, yeah, I'm in many ways team Ruby. I get that it's she's difficult, but she never never really hurts anyone on purpose. She's all the things we aspire to, right? She even the blame game, but at this point she's completely back against the wall and she's a survivor. And
Yeah, and even when she does, like, kind of cause harm, it's not without cause, it's not without reason. Like,
there's no other option, I
and it
feel,
yeah,
in her
yeah,
mind,
exactly. Like, it comes down to, she does it's a last resort. Like,
Yeah.
that's what she has to do because of the situation that she's in because other people have caused her harm, and so she's like, "Well, I don't care about causing harm right now." Like, it's just
Yeah.
but yeah,
I
like,
think she cares. I don't even think it's that she doesn't care. It's that what else can I possibly do in this
yeah.
situation and still survive? And I think that's why her story was so compelling to me, is that it was in that situation, what would anyone do? In the end, what happens? But I think it was very much, and I think which is also one of the reasons why this book was interesting and difficult for me to write, is that it's a situation. So I'm such a rule follower in real life, almost a goody two shoes in some
Oh, so
ways.
was this a little bit living vicariously
Yeah,
through
yeah, and I'm just like doing anything that is outside of, yeah, and things like that. So I really had to understand her. And I think one of the reasons she is so self-aware is because she had to explain herself to me really well. It was because, and this is a character who had such potential for being too much. Like, I don't this there is no way to justify the things that she demands. In For real, there is no way to justify the things she demands, and yet she is in a position where she feels like that's all she can demand. And so it was a truly difficult situation, which is story gold in some ways, but also a lot of digging, I think, as a writer.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, she definitely goes through some powerful growth,
yeah.
and her circumstances bring that out in her, like, not just and it seems like it's finally for positive, like,
Oh,
the situation that she's found herself in, getting to know her sister's hopeful family, and just surrounding herself with that community, with those people, not even, like, really meaning to charm and make such an impact, but she does, and then they have the impact on her, and I thought that was so fun to watch as she's like, "Oh." She's like, "Ooh," like, actually, like, "Oh my god," like, "You're
yeah,
hitting me in the feels,"
yeah,
like,
yeah. I have feelings. What?
Yeah. I kinda wanna backtrack a little bit because I was looking at kinda, like, your lineup, your published works, and I noticed a trend. You play on titles and themes of, other cultural works of art, and like compare this release of Simi and Groom, how Simi got her Groom back, to your other releases. Was there usually approach it the same way? Was there anything that stood out to you?
Oh, this was, like I said, this was a completely different ball game, because I usually, so the way stories will, and I'm guessing you're talking about this one and the last one, it's just a play on titles. You know how Simi got her groom back is obviously a play on Stella got her groove back. And then I have the last one was called There's Something About Mira, which was, so I think it was just a cutesy thing that fit in with this. And I think the thing that we were dealing with is that I have these books that have very a darker soul, but wear a colorful and fun clothing. And so there's both, right? There is, to
I
me,
like
that's,
that. I
yeah.
like that description.
Yeah, it's how life is, right? It is, everything is not only dark or only bright. And issues like, there are just things that in today's world right now, just this was a story about place and home, and what makes you belong and where you belong, and what these labels of humans being legal or illegal, and how we see that at its most surface level, when really every human being is this deep history. And how can you take a rubber stamp? And with fiction, you're able to take one individual story and make it the whole story,
Yeah,
and that is a great way, I think, to walk in someone's shoes. It's the most harmless way. You can leave your home, put yourself in unsafe situations, you can do all of that, and truly, I think, much more than in nonfiction, when someone's telling you this happened to me, this happened real, it's still a distance between you and the thing, right? You and the event, you and the person. But in fiction, you actually fall into the character's mind and body. So I
right.
feel like it's much more powerful in terms of exercising your empathy muscle, so to speak. So
Yeah.
that's what I think, that was the reason that this particular story called to me right now as a moment in time. And it actually is a we were at on vacation with a bunch of friends, and this was literally a story someone told over a drink, right? That this happened. They had a friend who went back home with her boyfriend to Bangladesh for a wedding, and the family said, "You both have your visa, why don't you marry his brother? Yeah, so he can also." So it was at that point like such a, as I said, being a rule follower, that for me was like,
You were,
she
like,
didn't.
clutching your pearls,
Yeah,
like
I was totally clutching my pearls. And I think through this book, a lot of this book was me myself trying to unclutch my pearls in some ways, right? Because some stuff just feels so, oh my God, how can someone do this?
right.
But
'Cause
someone,
that definitely does touch on a lot of things,
yeah,
especially in today's climate, where people are like, "Oh my god, like, are you serious? Like,
yeah,
this is exactly what we're against right now." But it's yeah, you present it in a way to kind of, like, on a human level,
it's
on
the
a
human side.
fictional human
Yeah,
level,
yeah,
even so somebody can allow that fiction part of it, that creative fiction part of it as a way to kind of immerse yourself safely, I guess,
yeah,
for the reader.
yeah,
Like, I encourage anybody who doesn't agree with this sentiment to read it. It's like people who agree with the sentiment, yes, they will enjoy it, but I feel like anything, like any profound piece of work, whether it's historical fiction, women's fiction featuring your contemporary fiction, whatever, featuring BIPOC, AAPI characters and their unique experiences. I enjoy reading experiences that are completely different from my own because that's like so much part of the fun, and it makes me feel a little bit more like I don't know, smarter, like maybe, but like also kind
yeah,
of like a little more like aware of things, a little more open. I'm an open minded in general, but yeah, I feel like anybody who's kind of like got mer about certain issues, like they have a I feel like I could say "murr" and people know who I'm talking about. I feel like they need to read some of these stories, and it being like a fictional story, it could kinda hopefully bridge that gap into easing, like, dipping their toe into the water because absolutely, like, obviously, we can go off on tangents on the whole, like, this overarching kind of plot, the reason why
yeah,
they are all in this situation, and poor Prem
yeah,
and poor Saj. I
yeah.
don't wanna say poor Saj, but also kinda poor Saj. And then the girls, like, Rupi is, like, just kind of like, she's reluctantly accepting it, and then also Prem is, like, fighting for his life, but also Simi is, like, barely holding it together. I think that's what I usually, like, write notes whenever I read, like, to prepare for discussions with you, with authors, and I remember, like, straight up, "Oh my god, poor Simi." I do not like Rupi at all, at least at the moment. And then it's like and then the next one was like, okay, Rupi protected Simi, like, looked out for her, all of that, and then it was just like, poor oh my god, wait, I wanna say the exact, like, sentence. It was basically like, poor Prem, poor Simi, poor Prem, Simi's barely holding it together, and Prem is fighting for his life because every situation, he was just he was so deer caught in headlights and also looking for a cue, like, "How do I handle this?" And he was so God, I feel so much for him, and then the fact that, like I guess it was because at the beginning it seemed like Rupi just kind of manipulated and exploited that relationship. She was also so, bitter and mad at Prem for basically trying to make sure she was okay. Like,
Yeah,
trying,
yeah, yeah,
and I felt for it, and then I was also like, "Ruppy, like,
yeah.
you're a grown ass woman. What are you doing?"
She's a
I feel
grown-ass
like
woman who's never
yeah,
seen a good man.
yeah,
Never,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
so I think it's, and of course, once the story is written, it's yours, right? Like when you read it, it's your story, and how you, it's no longer mine. And I think that's the whole point, is to be able to see someone who's having reactions completely different from yours, and hopefully also see why or not.
Oh,
And
exactly. And
yeah,
then
and
mind you, this was, like, towards, the first less than
right,
10 chapters, right?
right.
You know
Yeah.
what moments I'm talking about where I'm like,
Absolutely,
the
absolutely.
whole initial reunion.
Yeah, if she doesn't
Yeah,
shock you, and if she doesn't like if you're not like, I don't
make
know
you
if
feel
I
things.
want, yeah,
Yeah,
if I even want to know about this woman, then that's not the story, because it is, she's a very difficult character to like in the beginning, and I hope that makes her a very likable character by the end. But to me, that's how it was. But she is an absolutely difficult character to like. She has a very unique history, and we usually say, yeah, there is a point when you, and that's the whole point, is that you can have a really bad history in things and hold on to it forever, or you can grow the f up. And this is
it's okay.
about
You could swear. Drop the f bomb when
grow the
you
fuck
feel it
up.
coming.
And so
Yes,
it's exactly that she is, this is the story of how she, this girl who never had a childhood and has always been an adult, actually grows up. I think that's
yeah,
the
and it
story.
is heartbreaking because 'cause I'm like, I'm sure you as a mom, I have 2 little boys, they're 5 and 8, and so it's that's another level of trying to, like, relate and understanding, like, oh my god, like, if I saw even if it was strange children, children who I had no idea who they were, no connection to them, if I saw clearly that they were struggling, like the older one had was responsible for the younger one, it would break my heart, absolutely, and it was like, I feel like I don't know, I would hope that I would have felt that way before having kids, but I know that now having kids, it
Oh
just
my
kind of it amplifies that
yeah, yeah,
threshold, that feeling.
right,
And so it's, that also adds to, oh, your caretaker was also neglectful and like the person who you were supposed to
mhm,
rely on. It does so much to mess with that development. And I imagine it was tricky for you, or maybe I want to explore how you had to navigate some of those sensitive themes, like not just with the implied sexual assault, like the immigration, the trafficking, the, child neglect and all that. Those sensitive topics, potentially content warning,
yeah,
how you had to navigate that because that was just basically their background, how
yeah.
the situation came to be.
Yeah, and even what happens to her. So I think, to me, I will say that I did cry a lot in the writing of this book. I did also laugh a lot, and I
Mm,
don't want to take away from the fact, like we were saying, it's a bitter pill, but the coating is, A, it turns into a sweet pill, and B, there is, so it's, while the soul is dark, there is, they find their way through life through fun moments and through connection and through delightful absurdity and the like, which is how we find how you go from darkness to light through these moments. And to me, giving her those experience, in fact, it's in the moments when when the light comes on at the as we go through, those are the times when I cried the most, because it's such an awful waste of a childhood, right? It's such an awful, it is it's so sad and so unnecessary, like, just because we're talking about a girl who has not known a day or a moment of safety in her life. And so she doesn't even know what that feels like. And so, to obviously, that's not my life experience. So grateful for that. And but you take the few moments in your life when you have had moments of not feeling safe, or and then extrapolate them, but you're still, like you said, it's, you're still dealing with and writing about things which are not minor in any way, which could completely break people, and to some extent break these people. So it was trying to stay as humanly connected to those experiences, and go into some of, and to do that you have to go into some of the darker experiences you yourself have had or been close to. And but I think what my rope while drowning in all of this was, I think, her journey as a woman, right, where she is, where we have such complicated relationships with our bodies, with, a, where women used to be, to where women are now, and our own relationship with owning it, and one piece of owning it. And so I think that kind of thing was fascinating to me about Rupi, is where she is like, I have control, which is why I'm giving someone else control over my body, because I have.
mm.
And so the whole relationship she has when she first comes to America, she feels, to her, that's the way she knows how to keep control. right? So in her mind, although somewhere subconsciously and deep, I'm sure she knows what is happening to her is all the things it is, but in her, the way she survives it is by thinking, I'm getting
Right.
to choose, I am deciding, right? At least I'm deciding this.
Yeah.
And that is the whole heartbreak, to then be able to go back and see, man, what was I put through? And then to believe that there are other
Yeah.
people who are not like that. And that's with both Prem and Saj, these are girls who are having to. So, in fact, that's Simi's light, is that she believes still. And that's because her sister, because she was safe. Right, Rupi was able to give her that. Whereas for Rupi to believe that that safety in the form of a
Yeah.
man exists, that's her journey, to be able to say, this could be real. Could this be real? I don't know. Can it be real for her? I
Exactly,
don't know.
and it's all within a span of, like, what, a month and a half? Where she's
About
kind of,
two
like,
months, yeah.
yeah,
About 2 months,
all
yeah.
these, like, dramatic changes in how she perceives people, like, the
Yeah,
going from survival to
yeah. Is it 4?
not.
Is it 2, 4? I don't know. I have to
I
look.
don't know, because I was gonna say, like, I know that
Yeah,
she kind of comes over, and then it's like, oh, they come up with
yeah,
this
yeah,
solution,
yeah,
and then they all of a sudden, without maybe, like, less than a month later, they're like, "Oh, the wedding's in 2 weeks."
yeah,
Like, that's how it felt like, at least.
yeah. It's a
And
little longer
I
than that,
finished
but
this book in a few days, so
yes.
don't, like
Yeah, yeah. But
I
I
was just,
mean,
like,
yeah,
breezing through, you know, the art of, having a fun it is like a fun beach read or a cozy chair read,
yeah,
right? It's
yeah,
just you don't have to you relax,
yeah,
maybe hit some deep shit along the
yeah,
way, maybe force yourself to think about some things,
yeah.
but other than that, it's like it's not it's not like a high fantasy where you have to,
No,
like, keep an
no,
eye out on
no,
things,
no.
That's the beauty of, I think, like, a lot of women's fiction or even some romances too, where it's like there's room, like, there's all like there's expectations, but there's room to just get as deep as you want, to get as serious as you want,
Yeah,
to be as representative
yeah,
of certain situations as you want, and I think that's kind of what draws me to, the genre is just because, like, again, like I said, like, a culture is different from me, experience is different from me, and even if it's like by a white woman author with a white woman main character, it still kind of offers that little, like, peek into, "Oh, this is what someone's dealing with." If it's not, like, a super cultural specific experience, it could be like, someone has cancer and they're fighting to, like,
yeah.
kind of maybe announce it or keep it secret or whatever. Like, there's all those types of possibilities.
Yeah.
So, you kind of mentioned this before, but I wanna ask, what were the most challenging parts to write? What were the most enjoyable parts to write?
Oh, yeah, I think I've talked about that
I want you
some
to spell it out for me, Sonali.
some more. No, it was, I think it is safe to say this was one of the tougher books to write. So I think that, like I said, is the rule follower in me, right? The person who's been taught that if you do everything by the book, by the law, by the everything's going to be okay, which is a very privileged take, mind you. And I'm completely aware of that. And so what happens when that is not a privilege available to you, correct? So to put myself in that place where that was 100% authentic and not in this I'm outside of that experience and so la di da way, but actually like trying to get inside there and think that what happens now when there are no safety nets, right? What happens now? And so those things, I think that was the thing I thought was going to be the hardest. And once I had it, once I had the background, once I had what was, then of course I had the story and it became easier. I absolutely love this whole kind of families without boundaries, everybody talking over everybody, and this kind of jumbled up love sort of thing that happens in families. I love that, and I think there's a healing force to it. And that was my taking these puppies in from the cold who
Yeah.
literally were going to be hit by a truck, and wrapping them in this multicolored blanket of warmth in this very kind of in this way was so much fun for me. Writing, I think, writing the Guptas and the parents especially, both, I want to say the
Yeah.
mom but also the dad. And so I think writing Prem's parents was just
They
really
were fun to
lovely.
read, that
Yeah,
whole family, and even though, like, the 3 of them, the 4 of them are, Prem the sisters and then Prem and Saj, they're trying to keep things under wraps, they have a motive, obviously, but, like, still see them all react to some of the absurd, like, with their sister-in-law and her art. Like,
I was gonna say that was just like I had friends who were like, "Ooh."
you just throw that in there, like, just like, yeah, like, they gotta have something. Like, they had to have something to kind of, like, unite them for a hot second, right?
Right, and I'll tell you, I've seen that hanging on someone's wall, and I took a step back, and I was like, "Whoa, okay, alright, that looks like it could be pencil, but thank you." It's
He was like, "Oh, it's the same DNA and her hair's longer."
so it's it was I had a lot of fun with that. I absolutely had a blast with writing Rupi and Saj. No spoilers here, but that whole kind of just externally, and for someone this prickly to make fun of
It was
someone
sneaky
else's.
sexy what you had going on with
Yeah,
them. It
yeah,
was so fun. I was like, "Wait a second."
yeah,
It was like
yeah,
their first, like, how she met him, how they met each other, and
yeah,
I was
yeah,
like, "Ah!"
yeah,
And then even then, she was kinda trying to, like, allude to it or kinda, like, bait him, and he didn't fall for it, and
yeah.
I
Because
just like, "Okay,"
she's such
you
a
know?
bully. In a way, the way she survived is by being this tough guy on the playground, right? And so here she is trying to tough guy her way around him, and he has her number. And he's like, I've
Mhm.
seen tougher than you, baby.
He
But
like
you
he's
were
an
tough.
immigration lawyer, not to
Yeah.
like he gotta it takes a lot to raise
Yeah.
him at some point,
Yeah.
right? Like, and eventually I guess, like, I don't know, if I had to choose between him and Prem, I think I liked Saj a little bit better because of the mystery and, like,
Yeah.
how he's just, like, so reserved, and then,
I love
like,
Saj.
yeah, he was so, like, fun and cute and, like, sneaky sexy, and it was just,
Yeah.
like, so funny. Well, he was really self-assured, but then you know when he's in the situation where he's just like, "I don't know what to do, like, what do I do? Like, hold on." Like, I love that. I love it when you throw characters for a loop, when you throw them the most self-assured, emotionally regulated characters, and when authors, like, just straight up like, "No, we're gonna trigger you. We're gonna put you in a situation where you don't know what the fuck to do with yourself." That I think that just adds, like, a level of attraction for me personally, where
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, I wanna see more." I wa
Yeah, she pulls the rug right out from over and under him. It's like, speaking of hard and easy things to write, he was as a person who loves romance and writes has written so much romance and just like consumes it like endlessly. That for me was my operatic moment. I was like, that was like, this is it was the kind of hero Prem is, making him authentic to that guy and not suddenly turning him into someone he is not. And which is so strange about also the world we live in. On one side, we're starting to see, to use a label again, to see the harms of toxic masculinity. And yet we have a whole history of having heroes whose machismo and bad behavior is something that
Right.
we have all been taught to drool over. So I wanted this real nice guy, soft guy to stay him.
He still has, like, such a solid presence, and he's
Yes,
got, like, a
and ex
broad-ish chest
yes,
and, like
yes, his dad bod,
Yeah.
everything. But even inside of that, as a personality, to have that solidity and to stay soft, and so that you don't have to be what does it take to what does it mean to be a man thing, which is a dumb question because we should all be asking what does it take to be a good
Ma
human, but
yeah, like, masculinity and femininity
and
is so multidimensional,
yeah,
like, it
yeah.
yeah.
And so I wanted him to be a hero without being the Visage is easy. A dark, brooding hero is easy. We're all gonna love him. But to make Prem with his kind of soft goofiness be so solid and so I want this guy in my corner if I'm in trouble sort of guy is I loved that. But he took a little bit more paintbrushing than Saj
Yeah.
did.
No, and that's I bet, like, that was still fun for you,
So
right?
fun. I
Like,
love
yeah, yeah.
I love the four of them. The characters in this book, I think, are even if the plot was a little bit, the plot requires some amount of expanding of your comfort zone. But I think the characters are not. I think the characters are
Realistic,
yes,
and they're authentic,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
it's
And
so
also
funny.
they have it really doesn't also I people will be like, so you write Indian characters, and I don't I write characters who happen to be that's their culture, that's not their character. So
You
it's
threw a white boy in there, Dr. John Johnson.
he was also
He was like he was approved, he was accepted, like but I love how you mentioned that, like, oh, he looks, like, so confident, he's so handsome, and he's so accomplished, but he was so scared of us when we met him, like, that was so cute. I love that. I love that.
I've
Is
seen
that,
that.
like,
I've seen
any
that so
reflection
much.
of what you've seen in your own
Yeah,
family of, like,
yeah.
family members introducing, like, their new relationships and stuff like that? Was that kind of a reflection of what you've seen?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like we always see it as, because media is so wide focused in the world we live in in America and the West, that it's always the outsider is always not white, correct? But in this world, the outsider is the person who is not brown. And A, humans are humans, but B, it's anyone walking into a room where you're not the norm is a nerve-wracking experience, or can be. And I think that's what this was about. And it was also about parenting in a way where your children feel comfortable to A, exercise their own discretion about who they want to spend their life with, and bring that person right in, and you trusting them to know, like, if you've raised your child a certain way, or it's they're going to know what they need. And so she I love how Preeti just knows that, and the thought process of this mother, who one would not think would have the thought process.
Oh, I loved her so much. She tried so hard. She tried so
She
hard.
was I'm not like other mothers.
Yeah, right?
Just love, yeah.
And I love that it was Ruby partially that kind of not like I feel like she always had it in her, the mother, but I feel like maybe that was the first time she felt comfortable kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
letting her freak flag fly, right? Like
yeah,
her like just
yeah.
like letting herself out a little bit.
Yes, yes.
And
I
that's
love that, letting a freak flag fly is exactly.
her definition of freak
Yeah,
flag,
yeah.
right? Like
It's adorable, yeah.
yeah, I love that where because I think it's important to include parents who are trying to, like, to make that part of their journey too, even if she was a secondary character. Because 'cause I'm like I look at my own parents and I see, like, my parents are straight up boomers, they were born in the '50s, and, it was like my dad, Catholic, he has 7 siblings, and my mom, Mexican, and she had, like, a single parent household, and then she discovered at her dad's funeral that she had 5 other siblings. It was
Oh,
crazy. It was a whole thing, but it was, like, kind of reflecting on that and seeing them and seeing their outlook on how they grew up, and even not just, like, within their own family dynamics, but also just, like, with the current events, like, how
yeah.
society changes perceptions, like, same-sex relationships or women's reproductive rights. It's kind of like so much of had the public outlook on these issues have changed, and the older I get, I loved seeing my parents kind of, you know, grow with that.
Navigate that.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I remember straight up my dad was like, you know, I used like, talking about same-sex marriage or same-sex relationships, he's like or homosexuality in general, he's like, "I used to, like, not be okay with it, but I don't feel like that anymore." And I was like, "Dad, like,
Mhm,
I'm so
mhm.
proud of you," like, because he's straight up, like, Irish, white, raised Catholic, like, his dad was the janitor at the Catholic school that he went to, so anytime he got in trouble, he was just like his dad was like, "Just put him where I can see him." Like
Wow. Wow.
And then amongst he had, like, 5 sisters and 2 brothers, and so that's such a different, like, environment than a lot of today's families, right? Like, so
Yeah,
it just, like, that's something like that, it's so fascinating to me to see. Like, that's why, like, I just loved Prem's mom so much, and then his dad too, obviously, like, it was just like, "He's doing it," and then he's onto you.
yeah.
He's noticing things, and then they're like, "Oh, shit, Baba knows." Like,
Yes, yeah, 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 and I think that the definition of parenting is trying.
it
Often
so is,
it
yeah.
is, and when you're a child, and which is why so many of these books, when someone's a parent figure, it's always I am trying, but really now that we are parents, the whole thing is just trying to figure this thing out, trying to do the best thing for these people we brought into the world. So the very definition of parenting is, I think, trying. And
Or taking one day at a
yeah,
time,
and
straight
having
up.
a
That's what I tell new parents. I'm like, the only unsolicited advice is to take one day at a
one
time,
day.
and even, like, I have 2 of my boys, they're both boys, and they're 5 and 8, and I'm half Mexican and my husband is half Italian, but they are the most light-skinned, like, light-haired little boys you will ever see, and I'm like, "There's nothing." It's all recessive genes. I don't know, like,
Yeah.
a lot of SPF in their future, but it's also kind of like I look at them and that's when, like, the dual identity kind of comes in and, like, me trying to be aware of things, just trying to, like I'm raising white white men, I'm raising white boys, and I have to, like, be conscious of that, and it is, like, a thing where it's like but I think they're slowly just because of our families, they're slowly, like, learning, well, skin color is not I mean, I think children in general, like, skin color is not, like they don't care, they don't notice it,
Yeah.
right? They don't
Yeah.
that's not, and I know when they get older, they're gonna be more susceptible to, like
Yeah, because there are forces at work.
yeah.
There are forces at work trying to
Yeah.
reverse things that are going forward,
Yeah.
and I think as parents, again, all we can do is try to buffer that influence, try to reverse that influence, do what we can. But in the end, it is not our life. It is not
Yeah.
our brain. It is not. They're going to have to find their own way. But we do the best we can. We try.
Exactly.
And yeah, I mean, mine
Exactly.
are 24 and 26 now, and
And so you still feel like, "What are you doing?" Like,
yeah, yeah, and in some ways, I'm so
is
proud.
the older one the boy or the
The
girl?
older one is the boy, and so I have a
Okay.
26-year-old boy and
Oh,
a
so she
24.
always had to prove something, like and
Yeah,
he was like, "What are you"
yeah, oh
I
my
feel
god.
like he might have had, like, a few I don't know if he concerns himself with her, like, her safety, or at least not that maybe not that he's aware of, right? Like, it's I didn't know, like, for my brother, he's 2 years younger than me, but, like, I remember I was visiting my family, and I stayed in Mexico with family in Mexico, but I stayed there after my mom had already left. I was staying there longer, and I guess my brother, like, freaked out, and I had no idea, and it was, like I was 27 and or 26, and he was 24 at the time. I didn't know that he felt like that because he was like, "Mom, why are you letting her stay there?" Like, and it's like, okay, like, we're with family, and it's like, yeah, Mexico has a bad rap sometimes, but I feel like with my family, I feel like I got this, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even worried about it, and so,
Yeah,
like, even the younger brother, I felt like I didn't know he had it in him. I didn't know he felt
that's
that way.
interesting, that's interesting because with them, I think what I love about, again, this new generation is that they don't they are completely comfortable with the truth, that the perspective that the world is unsafer for women, or and they are aware of that. They don't, and I think he I hope, and while they're close, and while he is, because protectiveness is also control, and that's the
Mm,
line to walk, and I would like them to know their place and to walk that line. I think with a younger brother it's easier because he's a concerned younger brother. With an older brother it becomes
he's kinda like
yeah, yeah,
yeah, like
so for him to let her be her person, but also, so they very much have a relationship where if she's doing something dumb, he's like, "You're doing something dumb." But when it starts becoming a man woman thing, then it's she knows what she's
yeah,
talking about, and to actually listen in some ways and have an opinion in a respectful way. All of that. It's really interesting for me to watch them navigate that, because we also travel a lot. We go back to India where,
okay.
they
Oh my god, how long is that flight? Like,
Oh my gosh.
14
I
hours?
think door to door, I always say door to door is 24 hours. From this home to that home is 24 hours. For me,
You just have to come to terms that you're gonna lose a day.
you lose a
Like
day, but you gain it back when you come back. So
you go, yes. Like time travel.
it
Like
is time travel, and yeah, he is very cognizant of how that's very different, the experience for her and the experience for him in some places, and all of that, which is good. He, of course, often and sometimes will have an opinion about how to deal with it, but he also realizes that it is not he's not dealing with it, so it's always
but
his. Yeah,
that's just the beauty of brother-sister
yeah,
relationship
yeah,
versus, like, a sister-sister or brother-brother relationship. It's like brother-sister is, like, one of the funniest, because it's eventually they're gonna get to a point where, yeah, it's still like, "I'm gonna tell mom,"
yeah,
but also it's like, "Oh my god, you remember how ridiculous we were?"
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's an unspoken, like, understanding
yeah,
where but no, that's so funny. Because like, my older one, there have been times where I'm, like, too honest because I'm, like, struggling a little bit, like, either with, like, 'cause I'm like, I do this, it's kind of like a side project, but I also have a job, and then I have, like, the 2 kids and
yeah,
a husband, like, I have a family, like, I have a life, but I love doing this, but it's just, like, it's time, it takes the time that it takes, and it's a lot of management and organization, and sometimes I just started my new job, like, 6 weeks ago, And so I felt like obviously I was focusing on that a lot. And then this was also after, going into the office after not going into the office for long. And sometimes things just like fall through the cracks and I felt like horrible. And I'm so hard on myself about it. Just it could just be like, oh, today was pajama day and I didn't know, or I
Yeah.
found out like 2 days later. And so my son went to pajama day without pajamas or a stuffy. And even though it's like not the end of the world, I
It feels
felt
terrible.
bad.
Yeah.
I felt bad because I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Were you the only kid without a stuffy?" Without, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So and I'm, my oldest, he's in 3rd grade, so he's, like, learning, he's going through those leaps of
Yeah.
schoolwork, of learning things, and he's in advanced math, and I'm so proud of him, but also he's still got, like, that immaturity level where he's like, "I don't know if I can do this," you know what I mean? So it's like, "You could do it, you're so smart, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah.
But so it's just, like, all that's piling onto, like, my big picture. I should have been, like, too honest with like, out loud and been like, "I feel like a fucking failure."
Yeah.
And my 8-year-old, my 3rd grader, he's like, "Well, you're not."
Yeah. That's so sweet.
It is
That's
so
so
sweet.
sweet.
I'm like, "Oh, thank you, honey."
That is so sweet. That's so sweet because even now that they're grown up, I can we can have conversations about the past. And there was a time when I would be like, "Did you guys think?" Because I was trying. This career takes this choice takes a lot of time and energy, and sometimes I would be like, "Are you? Did you get in? Like, did you ever feel like?" You didn't get enough of me, and they are like, no, mom.
They're like,
Trust
"Wait,
us.
define that for us, because I don't think you think what it is you I
Yeah,
don't think that means what
yeah.
you think it means."
Exactly. And they're like, any more would have been as much focus as you had was probably too much.
Oh,
So it was,
it does. It is, like, kind of a look back into being like, "Oh, like, then I was fine.
yeah.
Everything was fine. Everything was
It
fine."
truly is. You can only try your best. And my only unsolicited advice is that you cannot get it right. There is no way to get it 100% right. There is no 100% right and
I
right.
think I interviewed, a family psychologist, a child psychologist, and for a book that he wrote, and he said one of the things that stuck with me was, "As long as you're 51% on your worst day, you're doing great."
You're doing great. And as long as you're trying your best, like that's the thing. Of course, don't stop trying, but there is no way. This is not a job that you can get 5 out of 5.
Raising humans, that for like, let alone creating them and delivering them. I mean, my pregnancies were nice and boring, like business as usual, but the deliveries, it was like
Oh,
I was in labor with my first. He was a week late. We had to kick him out of
mine was a bit
bed.
late too. That's pretty
Yeah,
the first one.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like they just force your body to, like, push him out, and then I remember I was in labor technically for, like, 26 hours before I started
Oh,
pushing, and I tried like, half of that was me trying to go without an epidural because that's I wanted to see if I could do it because my mom pushed all 4 of us out without an epidural because, like, back in the '80s, '70s, '80s, they weren't
yeah,
they
yeah,
weren't making it the norm, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so for now, I'm like, after going through that twice and being like, "Okay, I'm giving in." I'm just more bow down to, like, any woman who can do it because it was easily the worst pain I've ever felt in my life times 10, and I didn't even push him out. I made it to a point where I was like, "No, just give me the juice.
Wow.
Give me the juice and let's do this," right?
Yeah,
So yeah, it's just like it's like a sisterhood of motherhood. Generations
indeed.
and generations and generations, and that's why it's just it's a whole thing. Oh my god, it's another tangent we can go off of.
Yes.
Let's get back to your book. Are we doing okay, so you touch on the food, and Indian food is known for being very flavorful, lots of spices, lots of heat at some dishes. So I don't know if you're familiar with, like, the hot wings challenge. So it's like, I don't there's, like, hot ones, there's, like, a show, but it's also basically like,
I
you
would.
know,
I
hot sauces, hot wings, and who like, they each get, continuously hotter between your 4 babies, Prem, Simi, Rupi, and Saj, who would win the hot wings challenge.
Frame because he's the one you don't expect to win. I think he might. And I love the idea that he's the one who has strengths that don't show up right up front. I feel like because Saj is, as you hates eggplant, and so he's picky, pickier with the food. I don't even think he would do the hot wings challenges. He's the least, I think.
He'd be like, "I'll be here to evaluate and judge," like
Yes, exactly. He's like, no, thank you.
or he'd be distracted by Rupee, like
Yeah. So I definitely think Simi and Prem would totally wipe the floor with Saj and Ruby.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's so funny because they do all seem like I could see, like, a hidden competitive streak amongst them too.
I hope.
Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what we get. Yes. Yes.
That's so cute. That's so funny. I love it. Okay, I do wanna ask this question because we kinda touched on it earlier when you were approaching sensitive themes. What other things are you doing for, like, self-care? How do you take care of yourself when you're working on these projects and maybe with some stuff where you gotta get in the zone and pull yourself out of the zone and just take care of yourself?
Ah, gosh, I'm not great at that. I think and it is writing the first draft, especially, is literally like pulling something out of my guts. It's a very from my gut, very draining, difficult. I'm kicking and screaming all through emotionally and for real kind of experience. And I'm really lucky to have a great writer friend community where I'm whining for like 2 months straight. Oh God, I'm gonna die. This book is gonna kill me. And they're just fabulously stoic. You do this every time, you're going to be okay. And also, I think my great care family and my community of people, right? Because I have the kind of friends who know that I can disappear for 2 months to write a book, right? Or, and still like not have a question about it and not take, if I'm kind
Oh,
of,
that's so perfect. That's
and
perfect people you need for this.
yeah, a really hard day, somebody to just a phone call away, like who. So I think the best self-care is a really close and tight community of friends who are always there for you in ways that you need them.
You
And
don't have to explain yourself
at all,
necessarily,
and
like
yeah,
yeah.
and so that's my strength, including the family. So the main thing, everything else I think is superficial. That's the real thing that works very well for me. But other than that, when I'm having a fully brain dead day, I will binge watch something for 20 hours straight. Like I have the kind of nonsensical brain that watched Game of Thrones 8 seasons in like 10 days. I literally didn't do anything else, and that's all I did. And so that I like to short circuit my brain by doing these things and working out regularly. I love to cook,
Yeah.
sort of things. But the real thing, I think my real self-care is community.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that, like, human interaction, just, like, filling your cup,
Yeah.
and we all have different
Oh,
ways of filling our cup,
exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mine is
So it's
that.
like, for your like, maybe seem like you feed off the energy and, of your community, where some people are like,
Yeah.
"I feed off the energy of myself, of the
Yeah.
binging, and
Yeah.
of the"
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I have friends who are like, I need to not be peopling. And I have those moments. I also have puppy cuddles all the time.
Yes.
My
Oh, I think I saw
co-writer.
that in, like, your author photo. Oh my god, yeah, that's gonna go on, like,
Yeah.
my thing that I do with, like, interviews coming up. I'm like, "Oh
Exactly.
god, that's a perfect author photo." I'm a
Yeah,
sucker for dogs.
it's
I'm a sucker for dogs.
I
I love it.
yeah, that's a great picture. It's from
He's smiling too, or she's smiling too, like,
he's
you could see, like, a
smiling too,
little lift.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, little mouth lift.
And you know how you get all the pictures from the photographer is Chandra Wicks, who did the Happily Ever After Society. So this is one of the pictures she did as part of that. And when she sent me the pictures, there's actually one picture in which my daughter was like, you can't use that one because he has more sass than you do. So he looks like he
He's
is
not
all.
supposed to steal your thunder. Like,
so, so there's literally a picture where he is much more kind of like
he was
literally doing that.
my time to shine, like I love it. Dogs are so, like even cat I mean, almost all pets. I only most have most experience with
Yes.
dogs, but,
Yeah.
like, mine, she heard me talking about her. She's like, going on 12 years old, so she's
Mine's
got, like, a
13. Mine's,
gray
yeah.
yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my god, isn't it, like, so sad, but, like, so, like, lovable?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
oh, I know. Well, she's still a brat. She's still a brat.
Yeah.
She's reached that point where she was like, "I know that if I bug you enough, you'll give me what I
Yeah.
want."
Yeah. No, ours has puppy dementia, so we're dealing with,
Oh, okay.
being lost all the time, and
The
but
poor
still,
baby.
yeah, yeah,
No, it is kind of it's like almost like you guys can kind of manage it, right?
yeah,
You're kind of seeing it in real time, so
yeah,
you can kind of
yeah.
yeah, it's sad. I know. Well, with her, she's just I don't know. I don't know if she has, like what? I know. Can you give me 5 minutes? Give me 5 minutes. Give me 5 minutes. Go lay down, please. I swear they can understand
They
English.
can, yes.
And it's so funny, like, my family in Mexico, they have dogs, and they speak to them in Spanish, so I'm like, they just understand whatever language they're growing up with.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Yeah, yeah.
like
Yeah,
it is
my
so
dog is perfectly trilingual like me because I talk to him in 3 languages.
we're like, "Sit, sit, siéntate." Like, you just like they're like all 3 languages. I love that.
Yeah.
I love it, I love it. Okay, so what do you hope readers get out of how Simi got her groom back?
Oh gosh, I think with all my books, I hope that people will a be able to look at themselves with more empathy, and this idea that a bad thing is not forever, that you can turn the tide for yourself. I think often a lot of my characters go through really tough things, and I think what I'm trying to prove to myself is that there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and sorry, there's always light at the end of the tunnel, and there's always hope. So that, I think, essentially that's what it is. But I think with this particular book, I think just even if one person is going to see the story of someone they think as an other, because we have so much now, so many forces trying to convince us that someone who is not like us is out to harm us, and
Yeah,
that's a rhetoric that is being created
and it's by people who have never had to do that.
that, and it's being created by people who benefit from your fear and
Yes,
benefit from your from you
but then they
being
go around and exploit that, like,
exactly.
hire those people. It's
It's for exploitation. And I think if one person questions that, when you're asked to hate anybody, if you're asked to be of anybody, if you're asked to, anytime you are asked to do those things, if you can stop for a second and say, this is another human being, and this human being has a story, and what I'm being told is a lie or could for someone's benefit, and just take a moment to stop and separate,
seriously,
yeah, separate brainwash and rhetoric from the fact that we're all humans and really we're all one, and we all have a story, and nobody will fully, I'm sure, with the exception of serial killers, nobody is, and they, I'm sure, also have a story, but really it's everybody just wants to live their life the best they can. And
seriously, like, that's so much of what I'm collecting as well. Like,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
if we just looked at the our we said, "Oh, what are your basic needs? What are your basic concerns?" Survival, family, security.
yeah, yeah. And
That's,
feeling
like,
joy
the
every
basic
once in a
level.
while. Yeah, love, joy. All of us want those same
Yeah,
things. We want safety for our children.
we
We
should
want,
all have the right to it, and it's
yeah,
just like,
yeah,
why do you think you're more entitled to it? Because
yeah,
you were born on this side of the border where you have no control over it, you didn't
yeah,
fight for being
yeah.
born on this side of the border, like, "Oh, win wars or, like, deal with it?" Like, no. Like,
Yeah, exactly. And
it's yeah,
you're closing your eyes to a lot of other history, right? You're closing your eyes and you're seeing one perspective that people are giving you. And especially right now, because everybody's perspectives are in our face. You can pay to have, companies can pay and politicians can pay and everybody can pay to be in your face on your phone and in
yeah,
your computer, right?
yes,
This is a paid thing. It's not an accident. So someone is actively trying to
yes,
influence you. And I think that mindfulness, that you go inside your head and your heart and you ask questions rather than you buy into the fear mongering, you're going to
absolutely.
see a different world. And it's really important for, I think, all of us to do that. And also, another thing that we're told all the time about what is legal and what is not legal, some of the things we find heinous today were once legal. How women
Exactly.
could be treated, how enslavement, all of
Oh,
that
like yeah,
was
like
legal,
exactly.
right? So if you're going to pull out the legal card, think of all the things that were wrong but legal. Then think of what's going to happen when you look back at history and what does that all mean.
Seriously.
And I think,
And what side were you on? How do you wanna be, like,
yeah,
are you really open-minded to, like, hearing out the bigger picture? It's like,
yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I that's why I'm like, there's such a bigger world than even in, like, me growing up as an American, there's such a I've learned it a bit later in life, but the world is so much bigger, and everybody's
yeah.
experiences are so much different and so much bigger
Yeah, and
than
humans are
mine.
humans. We're
Exactly.
all
That's
human.
really what it should come down to is
Yeah,
humans.
yeah, yeah.
Humans.
So if this book
It's
does anything, if it lets you think about your humanity even a little bit more. Um, that's it, like even 1 millimeter more. That would be great.
Right? Exactly. You'll take what you can get. I love that. Okay, so Sonali, Dave, what are you working on? Do you have any projects that you could talk about?
I really don't think I can yet. I just handed
I
in
don't
my
want to get you in trouble. It's
no,
okay.
no, there's no trouble, but I did just hand in my 2027 book, the next book that comes out. And this one is probably the most banana pants concept that I've ever written.
You
Um,
do have a little bit more fun with each book
it's
you read when you
yes,
write. Yeah.
yes. So I think I'm gonna go and write something really calm next, which is, but
But
it's,
you might get bored and you'll
yeah,
be like, "Oh, never
I
mind."
might, I might. So this is the story of like a historical warrior queen from India waking up in somebody waking up, uh, having an accident and waking up thinking they're this. So it's this warrior queen from India from the 1800s in this very unlikely place in 2026. So it's a lot of fun, and again, it's a sister story, and but very
So is
different
she kinda
sister
like
story.
she's not necessarily time traveling, she's just like that's her, she happens to be
So yeah, it's this girl. It's this woman who wakes up from a coma thinking she's her. Yeah, yeah. So it's a story of history and what we're told about history, how much is real, how far women have come. These two sisters again navigating grief and
I'm sorry, that sounds so funny.
I'm telling you, blast. It is just, it's the opposite of in that way. This is just bananas fun. This book is so fun.
And then
And
her sister is like, "What the fuck are you on? Like, what are
yes,
you talking
yeah,
about? You hit your head. Like, what?"
yeah, yeah, yeah. So she's woken up.
Oh, there's so much potential there.
Yeah, yeah. So
I love
yeah,
it.
her sister wakes up a queen. Yes, it's
Oh my god. I'm sorry, that just, like that's the kinda stuff I love, where it's just, like, bonkers,
it's bonkers.
or
Yes,
you're, like, ca ca characters who are so sure of themselves, and they're so, like, either they're ruthless or they've got so much experience, and they're, like, famed or whatever, and then you throw them in it's like throwing an assassin or a warrior into, like, a political meeting, and they're like, "What?"
what?
Like, they're like
Yeah, yeah.
That's like, things like that, I love it so much. Okay, so Sonali Dave, how Simi got her groom back. Where can I don't know if I don't think I asked you this. Where can we find you online and on social media?
I at sonalidev.com is everything's on there, and I am, I think, most active on Instagram, although you can also find me on in Facebook a little bit, but I'm mostly on Instagram as my most authentic self, and all of this is
Yeah.
available on sonalidev.com. I have a newsletter where I send out 3 hours, which is a recipe, a recommendation, and a really bad joke from my family's group chat. So
I love that. I do want the recipes because I was like I think I was still even in my 30s, my early 30s when I first tasted Indian food for the first time. And so now I know like my couple of go-tos, like no matter what Indian restaurant I'm at, because well, it's because my husband's an engineer and so he works with a lot of Middle Eastern people. And so he kind of coaxed into that cuisine, coaxed me into that kind of cuisine. So I'm like, I think at first I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm eating. But then now I'm like, "Oh, I could dig it. I could dig it." And I know what I like and I know what I'm like I could pass on. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just so I with some of your food, it was like also we didn't talk about their relationship with food and their comfort with food and how it was like from the motherland and there was that still that cultural. So yeah, I'm gonna sign up for your newsletter because I would love to just kind of see what you got going on with your recipes
yeah.
and maybe your bad jokes or like
Uh, we have some, yeah, our family group chat does not disappoint.
It's plenty of material, plenty of material. Okay, so how Simi got her groom back, that is available on March 3rd. Sonali Dave, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for not being afraid to get in a little bit deeper and be authentic and vulnerable. And I would definitely recommend this book to people who are looking for AAPI authors and stories and contemporary sisters fiction with a happily ever after.
Thank you.
What we could all expect, right, from this
Thank
genre. But yeah, and if and when you're ready to promote your next work, let me know.
I
We'll
would
come back.
love to be back for that. So thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun.
There you go. That was Sonali Dave talking about her book, How Simi Got Her Groom Back. That book is available now. Check out the show notes where you can see links where to find Sonali online and on social media and where you can purchase the book. In the show notes, you'll also see where to find Cantina Book Club on your favorite social media book communities, such as Bookstagram, BookTube, BookTok, Threads, Facebook, and more. And I would love and appreciate it if you could hit that follow or subscribe button so that you never miss out on book reviews or author interviews. If you have any book loving friends who are looking to get more out of their reading lists, please share Cantina Book Club with them so that they can find upcoming releases and interviews with authors. Another way to help this podcast is to head on over to your favorite podcast player and give Cantina Book Club a rating and review. It helps me reach more potential readers and listeners like you. And that goes for any podcast that you listen to. It's one of the easiest ways that you can help out. If you need book recommendations, you can reach out to me. I'm always excited and eager to share suggestions based on any genre that you're looking for. Or you can head on over to cantinabookclub.com to find more in-depth reviews. Seriously, you could just enter a search bar, fantasy, thriller, suspense, women's fiction, anything like that. There'll be something for you to look through. And while you're at it, you could subscribe by entering your email on the website so that you could get new reviews and author interviews delivered directly to your inbox. If you want to support Cantina Book Club even more, you could donate by finding the form on cantinabookclub.com, whether it's a one-time donation or as little as $1 a month. I seriously appreciate the support and will share my appreciation by giving you a shout out on the show. And finally, one of the best ways to help out authors promote their work is to head on over to Amazon, Goodreads, Storygraph, give a rating and review. It's really one of the best ways to help authors get their work out there, other than actually purchasing the book or tagging them on social media. Thanks so much for listening, and see you next time. Cheers.